Hi guys, and welcome to Ellen Does Everything. Today I'm going to be making a wooden spoon. First you need a piece of wood like about that thick, and then you just trace the outline of the spoon you want on it. You do need a special tool for this one. You need a hook knife, which is basically a knife or it's a rounded shape with the knife on the edge, and then you find where you want the bowl of your spoon to be, and then you carve and then you go with the grain, and I start down towards the edge of the end of the spoon, and just keep doing that until it's the depth you want. So oh, and by the way, we're camping, if you haven't noticed. So I'm just doing this. It's almost dinner time, but I'm gonna start, so I might be continuing the video tomorrow because these take a while to make. I'm making a salad type spoon, or like a cooking spoon. If you want to, you can make a smaller spoon. The same rules apply. Well, most of them anyway. So I have done the depth that I wanted for my spoon. Some spoon, depending on what you want your spoon to be like, you might want it deeper than mine, but mine's like that deep. Because it's not really for scooping, it's more for like stirring and stuff. So next you are gonna need to do around the edges of the bowl and the handle. So just take your knife and start going around the edges. I like to do the edges first because it's nice to grip it with this big strong handle instead of just a skinny little handle. So I just keep whittling until I get to around the edges. So I like to leave a little bit of space there and just keep it sharp, and then later I'll go down and curve it off like that. But for now I just keep going along the edges until I have the full spoon shape. And also, these are cut-proof gloves, just so you know. I'd probably be a little more careful if they weren't, but something like that doesn't hurt. So yeah, just be careful if you're not wearing cut-proof gloves, but also be careful if you're wearing cut-proof gloves. I'm just explaining why I'm not as careful as I could be. So I've gotten to there so far, so you can see the bowl of the spoon. I don't know if that's actually what it's called, but that's what I'm gonna call it. I've rounded it off and it's pretty deep. So the hook knife is pretty easy to figure out. You just have to make sure that you're going with the grain, which basically means you can see that there's the lines in the wood going like this. And so you gotta carve like this. And then what I do, which you're probably not supposed to do, but if there's like a little bit of marks in the wood from where you've carved up into it, I go against the grain just a little bit to scrape that off. And so it makes it a little smoother. So now you're gonna so you can kind of see I have a line up here for how mine's going to curve and go into the handle. So this is one of the easiest parts. You just keep whittling this until your handle is the right length you want it to be, and So I'm just gonna do that now. So I'm about done with this handle area. I might actually do a little more here, but it's still very thick. So the next step is going to be just going like this to thin it out to the right width you want. I like to do the bowl first because it's wider, so it's going to be more strong than if you're doing this on the handle. It's more likely to break. So I like to start by making this thinner, and then I move on to the handle and make it the right thickness you want. And then if you want a curve or like a circular handle, carve it down to the right width, like very thin, and then not super thin because you want it to be strong, but then you just round it off. I'll show you it later. I'll show you when I get to it, but you just want to round it off into a circle, and then you'll be sanding it later to make it really circular. So yeah, I'm going to start carving this part. I have made this thin, and I mostly rounded off the handle. For the rounding off of the handle, you gotta, it's pretty simple. So it was like squarish, and then you just go on the corners until it's the right thinness for you. And then you don't have to make it completely circular, just about that shape, and then when you sand it, it'll become circular. Also, be careful, even if you're wearing gloves, because I did cut myself with these, the hole. But yeah, so I'm gonna start. So now I'm going to. There's these rough edges here. I kind of cut mine a little thin here, but you just take your knife and cut off a little bit of the corner on that, but you don't want to go too deep because otherwise it'll make it look weird. And then just go all the way around, taking off a little bit on the corners to make them not so sharp. Okay, so I finished rounding off the corners on the back of my spoon. So now I'm gonna start working on the front. So it is like this and really sharp, but eventually I'm gonna keep taking it down a little bit. I made my edges a little too thin too, but just get the corners rounded off a little bit, and then again you'll be using sandpaper, so that'll help keep them even more rounded. So just go all the way around. Okay, now that's pretty much done, and I think that it's time for sanding. Okay, so now we're on to sanding. I have everything rounded off how I want it, and then I start with a 60 grit piece of sandpaper, and I like to fold it up to make it stronger and not rip as easily. And then I like to start with the back of the spoon, just sand it off until all the rigid edges are off, and then it still won't be super smooth until we use the lower grit pieces to finish it off. But this is the main thing you need to do to just take off the big rough edges. Then I have my other sandpaper here in case this one gets too ripped up. So I'm going to start with this, and then I'm gonna move down to my handle, and then when I do my handle, I'm just gonna roll it up like this, and then curl it up into a circle around the handle, and then I just keep going like this, and it really helps make it more circular shape and smooths it up. So I'm gonna go to there, do the handle, and then I'll move up to the sides of this spoon like that, and then do a little bit here. This usually doesn't need too much, but then the bowl of the spoon usually needs a lot. So this is going to be the longest part. You just keep going in the bowl of the spoon until you get it mostly, most of the ridges and bumps smoothed out. And so, yeah, I'll talk to you more once I finish with the 60 grit. Okay, so I'm just about done with this piece of sandpaper. Yeah, so up there. This is what my thing looks like so far. You can see that the handle is a lot more round, the back is smooth, the inside is a lot smoother than it was. So this is a lot thinner than I've ever made any of my spoons, so yeah, I was kind of afraid it might break, but it seems to be holding up great. So now we're gonna move on to a 100 grit sandpaper. So that'll take off less than my 60 grit one, and take off any of the smaller rough edges, and smooth it off. So I'll do the exact same thing I did with the 60, just with the 100, and that should do the main finishing. And then I'll move on to my polishers next. Okay, so it kind of looks the same, but if you rub your hands on it, you can tell it's a little more smooth. So got basically all the like bumps and stuff I want to get off of it. So now I'm going to take my polishers, which we're estimating this one's about 200, 250, and this one's probably about 500. So barely take off any at all, but they're really good polishers. So I use my one that takes off more first, and I just keep going on the handle, and that's already getting really smooth. So you just keep going like this for a little bit until it's so what this is doing is basically just taking off any residue left from the other sandpapers. The less it takes off, the less you need to do, or the less you need to do, because like the 60 grit takes a lot longer to use than this polisher, because it's just polishing, not actually trying to take a lot of stuff off. The handle is the part you need that I like to have the smoothest, because that's what you're going to be gripping. The bowl, the bottom part, or the bowl type part of the spoon, the only reason that needs to be so sanded is that when you're washing it and stuff, the bacteria and germs can like grow in the little crevices, so the more you sanded it down, the more sanitary it'll be. So now I'm going to move on to my really fine polisher. I'm dropping these. And start on the handle, this one you only need a couple swipes with. I basically just use this to take off the dust from the other ones. And then, oh yeah, and then once you're done with all this, you can just go and blow it off in case any sand is still on there, or wood dust, whatever it is. Oh wow, that is smooth. And then move on to the back. Alright, so now that's smooth enough. I like to make it smooth enough that you can just run your hand along the whole thing and not get any slivers or anything. It just doesn't catch. You can just go right down like that and it doesn't catch on anything. So yeah, that's how you make a spoon like this. This can be, you can cook with it, stir with it. So when you season it, I just looked up how to season spoons, and I might do a video on that sometime, but just make sure that after you season it, you're not supposed to wash these with soap. You're supposed to rinse them off, and then you're supposed to rinse them off and you're supposed to soak them and rinse them and re-season them if they're in contact with raw eggs or raw meat. I'll probably tell you more about that if I do a video when I'm seasoning them. But yeah, so that's how you make a spoon like this. Thanks for watching, and bye. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I got in my whittling set. I just got this recently. So it came in the package like this, in the package, and this is the carrying case for it. It also came with a piece of wood, like a thicker one that I used to carve a spoon with. But then inside there are some cut-proof gloves that aren't completely cut-proof because I cut through them. And then 2 pieces of sandpaper, which are very high grit, which means that they don't take off a lot, so they're good polishers. And then a regular whittling type knife, a detail knife, I'm pretty sure it is, and my hook knife. I'm gonna put the cap on that. They all come with little plastic covers, but okay, here it is, sorry. That kind of keep the sharpest parts safe, and well, keeps you safe from the sharp parts. And then it comes with a strop and this stuff to put on it. This basically sharpens a little bit of your knife, and it sharpens and polishes your knives. You just kind of rub it on there like this. You should watch a video about it if you're gonna do it. But yeah, so it's been very useful. I've built a couple things with it. So yeah. Bye.